Did you know that the Bible predicted this major historical event before it actually happened? Now, I'm talking about the siege of Tyre, and you can see this in verses 7 through 11 in the book of Ezekiel. And it specifically says that among the nations that attacked Tyre will be King Nebuchadnezzar. And it says that King Nebuchadnezzar would invade the city and kill with a sword, set up walls against him, break down their towers, and he did all of those things. So the prophecy came true like at the end of the 6th century BC. But if that weren't fascinating enough, it also prophesied that like another army would invade the city. And this other army would like throw bits and pieces of the destroyed city into the ocean. We see this in verse 12 when it says, "Your stones and timber and soil, they being the other army, will cast them into the midst of the waters." This literally happened in 332 BC when Alexander the Great literally went into Tyre, and then he just cast all the bits and pieces of the mainland part of Tyre into the waters, into the ocean. Now, why did he do that? He did it because he wanted to build like a bridge to the island part of Tyre so that he could like invade that part. But that fascinatingly came true, you know. And if that weren't enough, the Bible also predicted what the outcome of the city of Tyre would be. It says that Tyre would become a place for, and by the way, Tyre was like a beautiful, majestic city. It was like maybe like New York City nowadays, you know, like for the time, you know. But so it's when it says that Tyre would become a place for fishermen to lay their nets in, that was like really shocking. It's kind of like saying, oh, New York City is going to become a place for fishermen to lay their nets in. But like, that's literally what happened. To this day, Tyre is famously known as a place where fishermen dry their nets off on. Now, why do they do that? They do it because of all the destruction that happened in Tyre. Now there's all this like bare rock that's like exposed rock, which is really great for fishermen to use to actually dry off their nets, fulfilling the prophecy once again. But that's not it though. Like there's more. So the Bible also said, again, this once beautiful, majestic city of Tyre, that it would never be rebuilt. And we see this in verse 14 if you're going to look at it. I'll put it on the screen. But it's really fascinating because to this day, Tyre has never really been rebuilt to its former majesty. I mean, once again, it was a beautiful, beautiful city, and now it's just kind of like, again, hasn't really been rebuilt since then. But let me ask you something. Isn't it crazy that if I wanted to, I could literally write an entire historically accurate description of Tyre's destruction using only verses pulled from the Bible? Isn't that crazy? And by the way, these verses pulled from the Bible were written like years before these events actually took place. That's so crazy. I mean, like the Bible is filled with prophecies that came true, and it's filled with other prophecies that will come true. And if you want, I'm saying like you really should not take my word for this. You should do a deep dive into this subject for yourself, and you should have fun like getting your mind blown, reading all these different prophecies that are like talking about things that literally came true, things that were written before the events actually happened, and then finding out that, oh, wait a second, the history books tell me that these events that the Bible is talking about before their occurrence, they actually came true after it was written. And how do we know that it came true? How do we know that it came true? Because history books tell us. But how do we know it was actually written before the occurrence of these events? Well, archaeological dating methods like radiocarbon dating, they tell us that these texts are with a very, very, very high certainty written before the occurrence of these events. So we can't argue that these texts were written after the events, because radiocarbon dating and archaeological dating methods tell us with a high degree of confidence that these events were actually written about before they actually took place, which is super crazy to think about, right? Now, isn't it crazy that if you pick up a Bible nowadays and you read it, you're going to read about something that we know came true, but at the same time, we know that the writers who wrote these things down in the Bible, they wrote them before the occurrence of these events. Isn't that just insane to think about? Isn't that super interesting too? I mean, like, and so guys, the Bible is reliable. Jesus is real. The Bible prophesied that Jesus would come, and he did. And it's prophesying about his return, and he will return. And I really urge you to just like go on the internet or something, a library, I don't know, and just do research about the Bible for yourself, please. I mean, if people are telling you that the Bible is not real or that it's not authentic or this or that, why just take their word for it? I mean, like, you could be doing research for yourself. And I'm not asking you to believe me in this video. I'm really not. I'm asking you to go out there and just do research for yourself. Find these things out for yourself and just put the Bible to the test. Like, measure its authenticity against what the evidence says, you know? Like, when deciding whether the Bible is authentic or not, make that decision without letting anybody tell you what to think, without letting the world tell you what to think. I mean, why jeopardize your entire spirituality because of what other people will think about you? I mean, isn't that just silly? I mean, like, would you jeopardize your very soul because you want to appease the opinions of others around you? Because believe me, trust me, I know, like, believing that the Bible is true, it makes you look very bad to a lot of people. It makes you look, people may think a lot of things about you, but who cares, right? Like, it's your soul. Why take on an opinion about the Bible not being authentic just because it's like the trendy or the cool thing to do? Nobody cares. You know, like, honestly, like, it's your soul. Like, do what's right for you and don't even pay any mind to what other people will think about you. All that stuff about what people think about you, it's meaningless. It's silly. Like, everybody's going to go home and they're not going to think about you after that. Like, if they have the worst opinion about you in the whole world, who cares? Like, they're going to go home and then just forget all about it and then cook dinner or something. I don't know. But guys, I'm telling you, like, if you do research on the Bible, I know that you'll also come to find out that it is in fact just like absolutely trustworthy. I mean, like, read the Bible, it's real. And I strongly recommend, even if you've never prayed before, like, try it, you know, like, go to your room and sincerely ask God, if you're real, show me, please. And if Jesus is real, show me, please. I strongly believe that if you ask God with a sincere heart, and you're not just like trying to like test God and doing like a gotcha, like some people may say, oh, like, if God's real, then and if I ask him to be here right now, then, and if he doesn't appear right now, then he's not real. Like, it's not like that. You're not testing God. I'm talking about coming to him with a sincere, open, and honest heart, and just asking him if he can reveal himself to you one way or another, and asking him if he can reveal himself to you in his ways. And I'm telling you, like, he will answer you in ways that will surprise you. Do that research for yourself. That's between you and God, and that doesn't involve anybody else. So don't let anybody make you feel any type of way about these kind of things. All right. God bless, guys. Bye. Thank you.